Hi, this is Frank Walker of Frank Walker Law. Now I want to talk to you briefly about PFAs in Allegheny County. Now, PFAs are handled differently in different counties. However, in Allegheny County, these are the steps that typically happens. If you are, first of all, a PFA is protection from abuse. It's a piece of paper or a series of paperwork that someone can file as a complaint with a judge stating that they fear for their safety by being in your presence. You're going to be served with those papers. It's either going to be by the local police or a sheriff. They're going to come to your door and they're going to serve you with that paperwork. It can be very alarming. It can be very shocking at first because you're thinking, why are the police here? Why is the sheriff here? What is this about? You may think you just had an argument with your spouse and that was it. You went your separate ways and you went to cool off. You're thinking a cooling off period, everything's going to be fine. But then all of a sudden you get a knock at the door and they're saying, hey, well, you got this PFA. You've been served with this PFA. Now you're reading it and it's going to be some very damning allegations. They're going to paint you in the worst light possible. It's going to be things that may not be accurate. It may be some misrepresentations in there, but that is not the time to call that person. It's not the time to correct the language in there by reaching out to them via email or text message. It's not the time to, as my teenage daughters would say, crash out and do crazy things by calling and texting and showing them at the person's house, hey, this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie. No, that's not the time. Your first call should be to an attorney to help you resolve that issue because they can walk you through that process. This video can show you the overview, but I cannot be your attorney. You have to speak with an attorney who can represent you and walk you through that process. Why? Because that attorney is going to maybe reach out to the other person's attorney, the alleged victim's attorney, and try to resolve or maybe try to get the PFA dismissed or try to get it resolved in a manner that doesn't affect your record or impact your record. Because if you reach out to that victim, guess what's going to happen now? They can file an ICC warrant against you. What is that? It's indirect criminal contempt, meaning that you indirectly were in criminal contempt by violating the terms and conditions of that PFA because you're not supposed to speak to that person. And if you do have contact with them, now you violated. Now you have a PFA on one hand, and you have the allegation that you violated, meaning the ICC warrant. And you may find yourself in the Allegheny County Jail simply because you violated the terms and conditions of the PFA. Because in the beginning, it's a temporary PFA. It's a temporarily, you guys need to stay away from each other. You don't need to have any contact with each other until we have an opportunity to hear this matter. You're going to appear before a judge to determine whether or not a permanent PFA is appropriate in this matter based on the facts and the allegations. So to recap, you're going to get served with a PFA. It's going to be a temporary PFA. There's going to be some recommendations in there. There's going to be some conditions in there. It may be you have to turn over your firearms. It may mean that you have to not have any contact with this person. It may mean that you have to stay away or vacate the premises that are located, that may be identified in this PFA. Whatever the conditions are in that PFA, abide by those conditions until the final hearing for the PFA is held and scheduled. Because if you don't and you violate it, they can place you in jail for an ICC warrant, meaning you violated the conditions of the PFA, and now they have to place you in jail pending the outcome of the PFA hearing. So please, if you get served with the PFA, don't contact the person, don't go to their job, don't go to their house. Contact an attorney who can handle the PFA and really walk you through this process and represent you throughout this process because you're going to have a lot of questions. Some of them may be answered here. If they are not, speak to that attorney and ask your questions there. Take all of your paperwork with you. Take a copy of your PFA paperwork with you. Give that paperwork to them so they can answer all of your questions and represent your interests at the final PFA hearing.